Greetings, girls, and welcome back to another episode of Starfleet Command. Orion Pirates Mod. I'm Admiral Tarek of the battleship Infiltrator, as we continue our campaign against the Federation, and, well, really mostly empty space around the Federation, but at the moment, the Federation, as we're currently looking for a way station. Now, last time, unfortunately, the game did manage to crash, as I had misplaced my Excelsior class files, rather embarrassingly, actually. I have had load an autosave, but we're not that far off from where we used to be, so let us set out and return, or at least we would have if we hadn't been caught up by an asteroid base assault. So yeah, so we're going to basically jump right back into this, see if we can't get a little bit of extra trouble going on here, see if we can't wipe out all of the enemies that come our way. Ideally, we will also very, very much hope that we will not run into any missions where we're assisted by any AI whatsoever. For those of you who haven't quite heard yet, and I think I've explained this in a couple of videos, and I did explain this over on our Discord. So right now the ISC has a pretty significant bug on it, and unfortunately, because the game is almost 20 years old at this point, I don't anticipate there being any sort of work to try and resolve this bug. But because of this bug, if the ISC goes into any battle where it has an ally of another faction, the ISC won't get the credit for the victory, which is a little bit irritating. And because of that, it makes life just a little bit more difficult than it otherwise kind of needs to be, especially when you're trying to siege out bases where it often will throw allies of various descriptions towards you in an interesting fashion. So because of that bug, it makes trying to siege out a planet or take really any major ground very difficult. So that is the reason why we very much hope that we don't actually run into any actual allies of any description unless they're other Cardassian ships at the moment. So luckily today that's not going to happen, although we are facing a fairly powerful heavy cruiser. This, as you can see, is a... trying to remember the name of this particular heavy cruiser. It's not a Normandy, is it? Or this might actually be a Normandy. I'm not 100% on that one. I'm not super familiar with a lot of these more super late era advanced Star Trek ships. But in any event, it is a fairly powerful heavy cruiser. I believe it's the CAX, if I'm remembering my footage. It's the NCAX, all right. So this is a new heavy cruiser with the X-type advanced refit on board for all that additional fun that you can possibly have with the enemy spitting out all kinds of awesome energy weapons. So we're going to prepare ourselves for hopefully a successful assault. Because he's an NCAX, the new heavy cruiser, he does not have access to things like heavy photon torpedoes or heavy phasers, but he will have access to the Phaser 1X, which that in and of itself is quite powerful. And in fact, if we get too close onto this guy, he's actually going to hurt us pretty badly. Regardless of that, we will probably actually get basically right on top of him to try and fire all of our plasma torpedoes right on into him as we slowly waddle on forward. We're going to try and time this right so that we can hopefully get all of our PPDs. They're all overloaded at this moment. We're also maximizing our electronic countermeasure for maximum efficiency, just to make sure that he can't actually counteract any sort of my jamming. A little bit of light hit going on to the forward shield, which did get sort of absorbed by it. I think it was only 2 hits, and if that's the case, then we managed to absorb both without actually taking any damage. So he probably actually outguns me. Not by a huge amount, but by enough of an amount that it becomes a little bit dangerous. We're going to trundle on down to a nice slow speed. He does have 2 missile launchers, which I'm not super worried about just yet, but it could end up being a bit of a problem. We'll prepare the PPD. Apparently 136 damage according to that PPD file. I don't think I believe that, and we need to get into the range of right there. Oh, good hookup on every single one. Alright. And then we're going to fire the starboard side pseudo torpedo, and that'll be the crash stop that we're looking for. And where is your shuttle? Phaser ones. Did all my phasers shoot already? What did they shoot at? Still have a forward shield. I did come into this battle a little bit dented from a previous battle, I believe. But that won't be too bad, I suppose. I am going to have to fire basically all of my weapon systems fairly shortly. As soon as he hits the... Okay, good. We'll be able to time this right. Good hit with the phasers. Oh, that's hilarious. What I ended up doing was I fired my phasers first and my plasma torpedoes at the same time. The plasma torpedoes had to travel to the target, but because he took so much damage from our phaser barrage, he wasn't able to continue to accelerate to a high enough speed to actually do anything. And then, because he never got to a speed of 4, the Wild Weasel never shut off. Oh, that's a level of irony that is just rather outrageous. Hit him with a couple of light phases. There we go. He's dead. Lovely. Alright, the initial target has been destroyed. I do need to set my PPDs down to normal mode at this point because I can't actually long-range barrage the target that we're going for next. That, of course, will be the asteroid base, which has 4 phaser 4s on board, which are very difficult to actually deal with. They are one of the most powerful weapons in the game, and I can't hang at a range of 8 with him, blasting away all of those to my face. They will probably cut right on through. There's our asteroid base target, as we'll just start to accelerate as we get up to speed. I can cut this off. The reason why we could see him is I activated my advanced scan. Gives us, I believe, a 30% increase in sensor range. So we can see out to 133, which is pretty great, actually. However, I don't need it at the moment. Because now that I know where he is, I can just sort of vector right in on him. And it'll be great. We're just going to accelerate to as fast as we can go. Most of my weapon systems have been fully charged, which is lovely, although I could probably just shut off all my I-type plasma torpedoes. I don't really need them anymore. I'm not going to be passing the target anyway. We're just going to basically drive right up to this guy, park, and fire everything we've got. And once we blitz him into oblivion, life will be sweet, because then we'll say, oh, this was a very successful mission. This will have accomplished almost nothing, aside from maybe flipping a random open tile instead of anything important. But once we get through it, a little bit of prestige always is helpful, because once we finally, hopefully, do manage to capture a phenomenal starbase that will hopefully not be destroyed on a planetary, or on a base assault mission, then what we can really start to do is rearm, refit, and repair the entire ship, or, you know, sell the ship for an X-type heavy cruiser, which is my current plan, should, you know, the means come into our possession. Get ourselves within a range of 15, because that is sort of a break point in terms of heavy firepower. And then I'm going to select all of my heavy siege weapons. I'm just going to fire. And we'll start to work them down. Now, one of the advantages that we have, because we're ISC, and the way that that weapon pulses out, the PPD, it flows out in 4 separate pulses, is it means it rolls 4 separate attack shots. Now, because it already has the hookup for the PPD targeting beam, that sort of yellow energy beam that you see sort of spitting out, it will automatically hit, but it still rolls for where it's going to hit, which allows us to get more critical hits. And because of that, we have a higher chance of damaging his phaser 4 and blowing it up, thus making him insanely vulnerable. So it actually does sort of work out a little bit in our favor, as opposed to just throwing a massive chunk of damage around that has basically one chance of actually managing to get the damage. Now, first we have to get through the armor, which is rather considerable, which that kind of slows the process down a little bit, but it works out pretty well in our favor once we actually get through that armor. And it does actually look like we're probably through the armor at this point, so the next couple of volleys, I imagine, will be rather interestingly decisive. Yeah, like that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So he had almost full health, we got through the armor, and then just we went rolling for criticals and managed to nail it first time. Well, after the first couple of them. So it actually makes us reasonably efficient at base assaults, although I would prefer to be in a X-type heavy cruiser, because I can do basically the same thing, except have a lot more speed. Yeah, tile taken, it's not that big a deal, because it's empty space. I grab a mission, a scouting mission. No, we'll take the straight up patrol. I want to make sure that I can actually hold the territory once we manage to get here, assuming, of course, that, you know, we are not escorted by any sort of Federation ship, which we can hope and pray, and maybe things will work out in our favor as we slowly trundle on up to speed. First things first, though, we do need to make sure that we get a full reinforcement on the forward shield. It's going to be, of course, very critical. And then maximum electronic countermeasure. Although I'd love to be able to invest like a single point in ECM, just to sort of mess with them. In fact, that's what we'll do. Because even a single point of ECM is incredibly powerful against a photon torpedo. Squaring off against the light cruiser, it's another steam runner, and that, because it's a steam runner, that tells us quite immediately off the bat that it's actually a heavy war destroyer. So HGWX. So it is an alphabet soup heavy war destroyer, but a classic Federation design. But because we have much more pronounced differences in ship designs, it's a lot easier to tell that. So we'll just sort of trundle on forward. Our PPDs are ready to go. How are you doing on jamming? He's actually trying to counter me on jamming. Well, he is countering me on jamming. There's no ifs, ands, or wants about it. He's got it done. But our PPD is set to overload. We're going to have to really slow down in order to deal the maximum amount of damage. I should actually prepare a tractor beam. I don't know why I didn't prepare this the last time. Just to make sure that he can't actually protect himself from the follow-up plasma barrage. We'll slow down nice and slow. We got to make sure that we're not traveling all that quickly, because at the end of the day, the PPD has a very, very limited period of time where it actually gets to shoot. And we are in it now. Good pulse. Cutting right to that shield. He's doing an excellent job of spreading it out amongst the entire ship. That was rather phenomenal, actually. Oh, and a scatter pack. That tells me that I can plasma torpedo you. And I don't have to worry about that at all. So the point defense tractor beam kicking on. How? I call shenanigans on that. You just dropped 2 shuttles. You dropped a scatter pack and then a wild weasel. That is against the rules. You're not allowed to do that. Our point defense plasma torpedoes currently activating. I'm going to have to bring this ship around so I can get a good angle on them. We got more incoming. I don't have any phasers available, but I do have a whole bunch of tractor beams. So those kicking on in order to defend us. Fire everything. Oh, I was about to say thank you for pruning me, but apparently not. So you're just going to start eating plasma torpedo fire. It's going to get worse for me from here. Trust me, mate. I'm not about to let you get away with this one. Caused a decent amount of damage because of your shenanigans, but I'm not going to let a little bit of your cheating go allow you to defeat me. Double Raleigh phaser fire, but what I really want to bring is my other 2 plasma torpedoes. It is a chasing shot, but I think I can make it work. 2 more plasmas. Actually, that's a little bit too far. Shouldn't have done that. Bit of a bad shot to have taken. But since you're traveling directly away from me, I may actually be able to sort of round the area and now bring my bow back online, which will mean the PPDs are ready to go. And you're already in trouble. Alright. Deactivate my point defense tractors. We'll bring them back on when the need arises. You don't have an firing photon torpedo. Huh. Kind of thought that you would. I did have a heavy war destroyer way back during season 1 that did have an firing photon torpedo bay. So maybe that's why I'm thinking of that. Right. So time to come in for Mark II. Although I think it might be a little bit of a mistake on his part to try and charge me. Just saying, the last time this didn't work out so well for you, buddy. But apparently he wants it, so I'm going to let him. He's slowing way down. That's actually rather surprising. Are you trying to go for a little bit of a more roundabout engagement? Yeah, looks like that's exactly what he wants. He wants to hang around using his photon torpedoes. He managed to get some pretty good shots at me, too, with those shots. He is counteracting my jamming, though, so that is a little bit unfortunate. And if he wants to sort of hang at a distance, I can let him do that. Although, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill you, because you're going to stop. We both know you're going to stop, because you're dumb. You're incredibly stupid. And even though these shots are fine, well, maybe not. You might be traveling fast enough to want to run away from that. Let's speed up the time. See what it works. Oh wow, he was traveling fast enough for that. I take it back. You're not as dumb as I thought. You're only mostly stupid. Okay, he's coming back around. Are you actually going to engage? Do I have to chase you down? Because I can do it. I have the power to do that, man. You realize this, right? Does he have any electronic countermeasure? He doesn't. At least nothing significant. Yeah, I can run you down. I have enough speed for it. For now, anyway. Come on, turn back into me. Oh, he's gonna make this a painful experience, isn't he? Oh, he's trying to keep away. Now, what I could just do is I could just set myself to a more aggressive stance by setting. Shoot. Good move, son. Now die. Playing games with me, boy. You're way out of your league and you know it. I was only letting you live because I wanted to be special and utilize my PPDs in overload mode. Which, against an opponent who doesn't have plasma torpedoes, is not the worst thing in the world. If they do have plasma torpedoes, don't try it. It's not going to work. Alright, 2 more missions over here. That's not a base assault. Game. Screw you, game. Absolutely screw you, game. At least I don't have escort, but you're a dreadnought. I don't want to fight you. You know what? I'm not going to fight you. In fact, I'm going to forfeit the mission. You can go have your own self, because I'm not going to engage that. He can't catch me in time anyway, so I have no qualms with having done that. Because I don't want to blow this thing up. I want to steal it. I want to rob this base. This base is apparently neutral. Sure, I'll take a surprise reversed. I have been out here for far too long. We're getting a little bit punchy. We need to make sure that we can actually get home. And if this is the only way to get home, then that's what we're gonna do. Overload all weapon systems. Alright, so we are currently looking at a Cheyenne-class destroyer? I believe you're a destroyer. Let's go find out. Yeah, you're the DD+. And then we're also looking at a little baby ship. It is an LF. Doesn't have anything special. A Nova class. And a pair of police Okinawas. Interesting. Very interesting. I have a lot more power that I need to be using. There we go. Also click on the forward shield. So I actually have a power at a little bit more of a convenient place to look up there. We have a ton of power. Use all of it. So this ship obviously is the most dangerous. It is a full-on destroyer. These two are sort of light frigates. They're standard FF types. And we can tell that because it's a standard Nova. It's not any of the cool steam runners or anything like that. So I actually do like this Giant class destroyer. I was very happy when we found it. I thought it would fit very nicely. So how much longer? A little more power. Just a little more power. I think the entire ship is fully charged and ready to rock. I do find it a little bit amusing that the police ships are larger than the standard frigates, but I'm willing to work with that. I don't know what the word would be. Oh, that worked out so gorgeously. You, buddy, Ivar. I'm surprised you're alive. Oh, you're on. Who said you could turn on? You know what? I'm going to ignore you. Maybe I shouldn't. No, I can. I can ignore you. You're not that dangerous. Starboard side plasma torpedo. Starboard side pseudo torpedo. You'll react to it, I assume. Oh, wait, no, you don't have a point defense, do you? Ba-boom. I don't have anything to shoot at you with, unfortunately. A bit of an oversight. This ship only has so many weapons. He can actually turn really, really tightly. That's rather impressive. Because look at what he's able to do to my very weak shield now. The point defense tractors, just in case. I will power prepare to annihilate this guy. Just as soon as he comes up. Oh yeah, 4 PPDs onto his face. He's not going to survive that. The Simon Bolivar. Well, last police frigate's going to have plasma torpedo. Do I have any firing plasma torpedoes ready to do? Ooh, photon torpedoes for the maximum damage. Jesus, man, what are they feeding you? He's beating the ever-living crap out of me. This is not cool. You know what, screw it. Attack mode. Go kill it. I don't want to deal with him anymore. You tell him he's not allowed to play silly games with me anymore. And you do it with your Gatling phasers. How have you not killed him? Those Gatling phasers have shattered ships far larger than that before. Okay, I got another S-type plasma torpedo getting ready. More phasers. This ship, this little tiny ship, has knocked out 3, count them, 3, of my very powerful Dreadnought level shields. Yeah, that little ship has done a phenomenal job. To be fair, we got really cocky about it. We were being super aggressive when we probably shouldn't have been. But yeah, that worked out really well for him. He managed to cause a metric hecton of damage. And now he's dead. So that has made me a little bit happier about that whole situation. But yeah, this is not the ship we want to be in. This ship requires way too much assistance. Oh, thank God. Capture the tile. We come on home. Shipyard, hi, I'm looking for an XCA. You got one? Please tell me you got one. You don't. That's really disappointing. Well, let's first check to see if the XCAs are even available in this era. No, they're not. There are no XCAs just yet. But they haven't been invented yet, which is rather amusing. 399 damage, holy crap. The BCV is my less armament, actually. Alright, I'll keep what I got for now. But we do want to get rid of this boat soon. Please. Oh, of course it's broken again. So many bugs on this ship. This ship has so many problems. I think it's only kind of cost us like 4,500, 5,000 something in order to fully rearm. In order to get ourselves an X-type heavy cruiser. So I'm actually going to splurge. We're going to fully re-equip this ship and hopefully we can take this thing out and cause as much havoc as we would ever want to. But we finally have our little way station up here to the north of the Federation. It's a bit of a trip to get here if you want to get to resupply. Dear God, it cost us like 1,000 prestige to fully re-equip this ship. And of course, it's glitched to have an always broken thing. But that's going to do finish it for today's episode. We have managed to finally get another way station. We're starting to encircle the Federation, which is an excellent little goal to have. Keep the Federation from being able to fight anybody, and clearly that'll end all the wars, right? That's how that works, huh? Anyway, I've been Derek. If you like what you're seeing, hit that like button and subscribe. Before you receive a notification every time I upload these videos, press that little bell icon, leave a comment, and I will see you all in the next episode.